I should have noticed the slight tremor in his hands as he lifted his glass, but with the music blaring, laughter ricocheting off the walls, and the clinking of glasses and cutlery, I didn't. I failed to see the storm gathering in his gaze. It was my 34th birthday, and the house was brimming. Friends, colleagues, neighbors, all of them crowded around. Warm lights bathed the room in a golden glow. Champagne flowed endlessly, and I was at the center, smiling for photos, basking in every ounce of attention. Daniel, my husband, lingered near the edges, quieter than usual. I shrugged it off. He'd always been like that, the calm observer rather than the one commanding the room. The laughter started when Greg, my coworker, cracked a joke about Daniel being the quiet plus one. It was teasing that stung more than it should, yet everyone laughed, and soon others piled on. Someone likened him to a ghost. Another joked that he looked more like my chauffeur than my husband. The laughter rolled through the room. I laughed too loudly, tipsy, and caught in the whirl of the moment. But when I glanced at Daniel, his face was unreadable. Then he grabbed the microphone. The chatter evaporated. Everyone assumed he'd deliver a polite toast. Instead, his voice cut through the air, low, calm, sharp. "Since everyone seems so entertained by me tonight," he began, "why don't I tell you all a story about my wife? About us?" The silence was suffocating. My stomach plummeted. Daniel and I had been married for 8 years. He was the kind of man who never forgot anniversaries, who brewed coffee before I stirred, who left little notes on the fridge before heading to work. I had loved him once, or at least thought I had. Somewhere along the way, the spark dimmed. I yearned for more excitement, more attention, more thrill. That's when Greg appeared, bold, charming, dangerous in ways Daniel never was. Work lunches became late-night texts, texts became kisses, kisses became secret hotel rooms. I convinced myself Daniel would never find out. He was too trusting, too quiet, too oblivious. But holding the microphone that night, I realized just how mistaken I had been. "Do you know what it feels like?" Daniel said, calm, controlled. "To walk into your own home and feel out of place, to hear laughter behind a door and wonder if it's at your expense, to give everything to someone only to discover they've already given themselves to someone else." Each word cut like a knife. My chest tightened. Greg shifted nervously at the back of the room, avoiding my gaze. "I found out 2 months ago," Daniel continued, still steady, almost eerily so. "The late nights, the messages, the hotel receipts you thought were hidden, I knew. I stayed quiet because I wanted to see just how far you'd go." A ripple ran through the guests. Eyes darted between us. My face burned. My throat felt tight. I froze, unable to speak, his gaze fixed unwaveringly on mine. He went on. "The woman I married, the one I built a life with, couldn't have betrayed me like this." I wanted to protest, to yell that it wasn't what it seemed, but his eyes held me captive. He turned to the crowd, scanning their shocked faces. "You laughed at me tonight," he said, voice steady but slicing. "All of you? You mocked a man humiliated in his own home, betrayed by the person he trusted most." The music had stopped. The room was frozen, breathless. "I'm done being the joke," he continued. "This is the last party I'll ever host for her. Tomorrow, I file for divorce. I will not spend another day being mocked under my own roof." The floor seemed to shift beneath me. My wine glass slipped from my hand, shattering with a sound that rang deafeningly in the silence. "Daniel, wait," I whispered, voice trembling, but he had already set the microphone down. No dramatic pause, no backward glance. He simply walked out, past the stunned guests, past Greg, past me until the front door closed behind him, the sound echoing forever. Everything afterward blurred. The room buzzed with whispers and pitying looks. Guests slipped away silently, avoiding my gaze. Greg vanished without a word. My birthday cake sat untouched, candles melting into pools of wax until they died out. When the last guest left, the house was silent. I sank to the floor, staring at the broken glass, realizing my marriage had fractured as easily as the crystal. The following days were a haze. Daniel moved out almost immediately, taking only essentials: books, clothes, photos of us, leaving the rest behind, as if removing himself entirely from the life we shared. Somehow that hurt more than if he had taken everything. When the divorce papers arrived, my hands shook violently as I signed them. The legal language was cold, impersonal, but the meaning was shattering. He was done. I called repeatedly, sent long messages, begged for a conversation, swore I would change. Silence met me each time, louder than any fight we'd ever had. Greg disappeared too, as if the affair had never existed. Months later, I saw him by chance at a cafe across the street. He looked lighter, unburdened, sitting with a new woman, her laughter warm and effortless, hand resting comfortably on his. He didn't notice me. Perhaps it was better that way. Watching him smile at her, the truth hit me brutally. Daniel hadn't just left me. He had freed himself. The quiet, patient man we mocked had finally spoken. And when he did, he didn't just silence the room that night, he ended the life we had built. I am left with the hollow echo of that night, the truth I cannot escape. Sometimes the laughter we think gives us power is the very thing that destroys us.